Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Camry Nicole, and this is Poised Perspective, where if you can change your perspective, you can completely change your life. Tune in every weekend for all things fashion, lifestyle, and beauty right here with your girl. Okay, it looks like I'm naked right now, but today's video is going to be the DIY corset top. So if you're interested in learning how to make your own corset, stay tuned. Okay guys, so we're gonna go ahead and start off by pinning, and this is all of the prep work for sewing. So we're gonna go ahead and pin the original seam line. I cannot make any promises that you won't have to move your pins several times, because I felt like it took me a couple of tries to get everything exactly on the line where I wanted it to be. So that ultimately when you sew where you're pinning, you're not going to have, multiple views of the old seams. You'll only be able to see the new seam that you're sewing. So everything will look really, really clean. Ultimately, that's kind of what we want the goal to be. So as you can see, I'm taking them out, putting them back in, moving them around. That's just how I'm going to make it work for me. So yeah. So once I start pinning on the other side, I want you guys to pay attention to the direction that I'm pinning in. So the direction that you pin in will be important when you start sewing so that you can easily remove your pins. And so it will be important that you keep them going in the right direction. But as you can see, I'm showing you the new seam lines and just showing you how well they're pinned so that you won't have to worry about having a lot of fabric in places that you don't want it. So I'll just show you guys really quickly what it looks like after I pinned it. This is ultimately what the front of the garment will look like. And that's the back. Now I am going to try to lace up the back. That's what I'm saying right here. And I'm explaining that I'm going to try to remove that stain. I did get some of it out, but I wasn't able to get it completely out of the fabric. Ultimately, it didn't matter because you couldn't really see it, but yeah. So now we're gonna move right along, and we are removing the zipper from the original garment. So because we are planning to lace up the back, we have to remove the zipper that is currently there. So a zipper comes into two parts. That's the first part, and that's the second part. And you can actually save that zipper. You can reuse that for another project. It's as good as new once you take it off, as long as you don't damage the track that it's on. So now I'm going to pin along the lines where the zipper was so that I can also sew that line shut, because now the fabric is open and we cannot have that going on when it's time to put in the eyelets for the actual lace up portion of the top. And take your time with the pinning part and make sure that you get the fabric held down in all the right places. So I made a mistake on this part when I was pinning the zipper line, and when I sewed the entire garment, there was a portion where the zipper line wasn't all the way closed off. It didn't mess up the finished product, but I did peep at the end, and I was a little bit upset. So this is what it looks like when everything is pinned. And now I'm just kind of mapping out what I want the lacing to look like. As you guys will see at the end of the video, I did not end up using the original straps, which is what these are that you see here. Those are the original straps from the top. I was just trying to see if I could repurpose them. Ultimately, I realized that they were going to be too short to lace the top and actually keep them there. So they were cute just to kind of map out the idea, but I was not able to use them in the finished product. But it gives you an idea of what things will look like. And I was like so excited. So now all the planning is complete. Okay, so now I am using my boyfriend's sewing machine to sew the lines, and I'm gonna just sew the new seam right along the lines where I have it pinned. As you can see, I pin a little while, sew for a few lines, and then I'll take the pin out and then sew a little while and then take the next pin out. This is how you can make sure that you keep your seam as straight as possible. This is kind of like what makes the garment aesthetically pleasing. So you kind of have to take your time with this part. Double check everything. Make sure that you're staying where you're supposed to. This is me sewing the old zipper line now that I've sewn the new seams for the inside and kind of like taken in the garment. Now I'm going to sew the zipper lines so that that part of the garment will be completely closed off. I thought about taking out the lines if they weren't perfectly straight, but it ended up not mattering once it was time to put the eyelets in. Time to put the eyelets in. And now I'm going to show you guys what that process looked like. To be completely honest with you guys, I've never done anything this extensive with a garment. I've taken a garment in before, added something here and there, but to completely restructure something and make something new, this is probably like my first time ever doing something this extensive. So I am currently using the measuring tape and the chalk pencil to every 2 inches I am making a notch so that I know where I need to do the eyelets, and I'm lining them up with the side that I've already completed, which I also measured out. And this is so that it will be even, so that the holes for you to lace are like on the same side, if that makes sense. So you want to make sure that you can see the lines. And now I'm going to take the shears. Now this method I learned from someone on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and tag the video below. But you literally just cut a little slit in the fabric. And then you're going to stick your scissors in and kind of create a little bit of a T or an X shape. And that is how I created the hole for the eyelet, because when I tell you guys, none of the products that I purchased to help create holes in this fabric worked effectively at all. Nothing that I purchased I was able to use to put holes in this fabric. So I'm glad I was able to find another method, because that's really what took me so long to finish this project, was figuring out how to make the holes for the eyelets. So now that I have that figured out, we're going to go ahead and start adding them. And when you add the eyelets, you're going to cut the hole and you're going to place there. The eyelet comes into 2 pieces, And then there's the hardware that you use to actually snap the eyelet and permanently fasten it together. So you put the bottom piece, that's what I'm holding in my hand there. You're going to take the bottom piece and put it through the hole and place it on top of that black disc. And once everything is lined up, the black disc holds everything in place so that the eyelet can actually be used to close off where the fabric has been ripped and cut open. But I really struggled with this because I wasn't able to make clean holes. So it took a long time for me to get this process done. But as you can see, patience is a virtue and you can get it done. So I'm just moving right along. And I mean, it takes time, but literally you just cut right along where you made your mark. Create your little X/T shape and then put the eyelet in. So it was time consuming, but it definitely was worth it because it came out how it was supposed to. I'm so thankful for that other video because I was really upset that the hole punch little gadget thingies I bought did not work because like none of them worked. So there's the eyelet that I was talking about, and that's the black disc that you set everything on to kind of make sure it's lined up perfectly. Once you get the eyelet piece completely through the fabric, which you really might struggle. As you can see, I'm struggling here a little bit. Sometimes it can be hard to see the eyelet through the fabric, but once you line it up and get it on there, the second piece really snaps on there very easily when everything is lined up how it's supposed to be. So you can really just add the second piece and then you put the top on and hammer it down with the mallet. So now we've got all the eyelets in, and that is the finished product. So we've got everything done except for the lacing, and now I'm going to start that process. And also, if you will notice, under me there's like an old cutting board that I'm working on. I would highly suggest using something like that on whatever surface that you're using. For hammering, cutting, all of that, just so you don't completely damage the surface of whatever you're working on. That cutting board was especially helpful when I was using the mallet in that last part because you're really kind of banging really hard and you will break something, if not your own finger or your nail. So be careful, friends. But here I'm just lacing up and I'm trying to figure out the best way to make sure that the lacing is done properly and also so that it's aesthetically pleasing. Now, of course, as soon as I lace it up, I realized that I wouldn't be able to put it on while it was laced. I would have to lace it while it was on my body. So it was nice to look at once I finished, but I only had it there for a few seconds before I went to try it on to see if everything really went how it should have. So if you watched the video this long, then you have made it all the way to the end. And this is the finished product of the corset. So as you can see, here is the steel bones, the first two, and the other two are here. And I've got it laced up pretty tight because I didn't want it to fall down while I was recording. And I didn't want my boobs to look lopsided because, yeah. But anyway, so I have it paired with this bag from Target and these glasses, which are from an Instagram boutique, I will tag in the description box below. As far as materials, additional materials that I had to use, this punch set, this is something that I will put down below in the description box, in addition to another fabric hole punching tool that I attempted to use that was a little bit unsuccessful. So I ended up just using the shears. That's why I cut them the way I did and kind of made that cross method that I discussed in the video. So there's that. This is a 3-pound mallet, which I learned is useful for any type of like mounting or attaching that you need to do, where you have to hammer something. It will need to be weighted. So I purchased this from Walmart for $6. It is 3 pounds. And it is a mallet, not a hammer, so there's a difference between the two. So make sure that it's shaped like this and not shaped like a traditional hammer. And then we've got this tool set is going to be sold differently from the actual eyelets that you'll need. So the eyelets, which are these little silver circle things that I used to create the holes for where I was able to lace the ribbon through, you use this punch set to attach those, and I will link the names of these in the description box below. I was unfamiliar with all of those products prior to starting this corset, so I'll go ahead and link those down for you guys to make your project a little bit easier if you're not familiar with them. But that's pretty much it. So everything I needed to figure out, I was able to figure out using YouTube. The rest kind of just came to me. So it was a pretty easy project, but I am gonna keep working on making those pants, and I am recording that. So I'll show you guys that process whenever they're done. And my website launches July 22nd. If you are not following me on Instagram, please do, so that you can keep up with the launch of my website and my service store, where you'll be able to purchase my services. So that is it for this video. I love you guys. I will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Peace.